welcome to our memorial concert and remembrances for Pamela Olsen. I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to be here in person or virtually to celebrate the life of Pamela. I hope that we'll learn more about her life, cry and laugh a bit, and reflect on her journey here on Earth. I'm also very grateful that we have so many friends who have given their time and talent to help make this memorial concert such a special event. So we have already one little change in the program because our good friends Alex and Lori Dean didn't tell me what they were planning to play, and it turns out that they were going to play what I was going to play. How about that? So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this piece. The Girl with the Golden Hair was one of Pamela's favorite piano works. When we met at Indiana University, I was accompanying the choir there. And I was playing a different Debussy piece before a rehearsal, and she came up to talk to me and was complimenting on how well I played. You know, of course, that always gets the attention of a musician. And she said she was from Hammond, Indiana, and she made sure that I understood that this was a suburb of Chicago. She had a previous piano accompanist for her junior recital, and he wasn't interested in women, so she just assumed that I was the same. Then that's why she came up to talk to me. When she found out that I was showing up at her lessons and coming around all the time, showing an interest in her, well, she was kind of surprised. So. From the time we met, we quickly became inseparable, and that quality in our relationship continued throughout the years. We had a lot of ups and downs, but it was mostly ups. So on the screen here, I've got a slideshow with pictures from Pamela's life. A lot of friends have sent pictures in, and so this is going to be running for some of the evening tonight. She made a lot of friends as a singer, as a massage therapist, and as president and vice president of New York Toastmasters. One of our friends remarked to me recently that he really admired Pamela's ability and eagerness to try her hand at a wide variety of jobs. As I was writing her obituary, I was also realizing that she lived many different lives in her time here on Earth. She was always interested in learning something new and reinventing herself. And her favorite time of year was New Year's because she loved feeling that she could start again fresh. And so while we're all sad at the premature passing of Pamela, she touched the hearts of a lot of friends and even brief acquaintances. And I've been reading, things on Facebook and people who didn't know her very well, but only really knew her through Facebook, and they were all really shocked and felt that she had really touched them. She had a real gentle and kind spirit and wanted more than anything to be a positive force for good. So I hope this memorial concert will help you to know her a bit better and understand why she was a beautiful soul. So now I'd like to invite Lori and Alex Dean onto the stage. They came from Maryland to present their special tribute to Pamela.
So this is an arrangement of what is actually a piano piece by Arthur Hartman. And it was played quite frequently as an encore by Jascha Heifetz and David Oistrakh. Uh-oh, the crickets are coming. I really want to move this.
Okay.
Hey, it's the same one. This is better.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, it's nice. For me, it gives me a little bit of a break because I have a lot of hats I'm wearing tonight. All right, so I'm going to invite my colleague Misha from the Wharton Performing Arts School to join me on stage to present two works. The first work, Reflection, was written in memory of Andrew DeGrado, who was a pianist friend of mine at Indiana University, and he died tragically while he was on tour playing with Joshua Bell. The second work, Praise to the Eternity of Jesus, is the final movement from the Quartet for the End of Time by Oliver Messiaen. It was written while he was incarcerated in a work camp in World War II. Now, just a second. A little bit of a weird thing here. There. Oh, I see. Like I said, wearing many hats. All right, so so he was in a German work camp in World War II when he wrote this piece. And he wrote it for the instrumentalists who were available at the time. There was a clarinetist, a cellist, and a violinist. And he wrote the piano part for himself. Interestingly, the German guards provided the piano and gave him writing paper so that he could write the work, and then they gave a concert in the prison camp. And Messiaen said that he had never had a more attentive audience than the group of prisoners who listened to his concert that day. So let's welcome Misha. Thank you so much, Misha, for playing so beautifully. All right, now I'd like to invite my friend Kevin Maynard to the stage. Kevin and I have toured the world together, presenting specially designed concerts, showcasing the lives of many important people, including Paul Robeson, Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin Luther King, to name just a few. Kevin will sing a song I wrote for Pamela based on the words of the 23rd Psalm. Pamela and I never had the chance to record this work, and Kevin has graciously consented to sing the debut performance. My brother Peter and Dayon and I have recorded an album of Peter's music. Included on that album is the work we'll present today, which I wrote after Pamela and I heard a concert with Glenn Velez, the master percussionist. The rhythm and melody came to me while I was driving home one day after hearing that concert. And Pamela greatly admired the song, as well as its title, Apraxis. So she came up with lyrics which I will sing today. So please notice the unusual alternation between two mirror rhythms in odd meter of 7. This is Baraxis. I'm going to go ahead and put the words up here. Our sound man back there. Did you hear this all right?
Yeah.
Is that good? Yeah. Okay. I'll just nice and strong. Looks like we found the volume. Sounds good. One, two, one, two, three. Right, so next I'd like to invite to the stage my friend and musical collaborator, Lou Caimano. Lou and I have played numerous concerts together, and we produced 3 albums, all under our band name, Dyad. Our second release, Dyad Plays Puccini, includes the version of the tenor aria from Tosca, E lucevano le stelle, which means when the stars shone. When Pamela heard this work on the album, she told me she wanted this piece performed at her memorial, so I am fulfilling her request. Pamela was responsible for Lou and I turning opera arias into jazz. When she heard Lou play, she remarked that he sounded a lot like an opera singer. Must be because of that Italian in him. Gave me the idea of producing an album of Puccini works done in jazz style. I remember that the first song I tried to recast was Nessun Dorma, the famous tenor aria from Turandot. And when Pamela heard my first draft, she shook her head and said, "No, try again." She was my fiercest critic. So I did, and then the second incarnation met with her full approval. So I went on from there. Anyway, the words the tenor sings in this aria reflect his mortality as he contemplates his upcoming execution the following day. So this is Lou Caimano on alto saxophone. Please give him a warm applause.
You got the memo about the jacket. So.
We always wear them.
Hold on, got to put on the really old guy glasses.
Her humor. She was very funny. Very funny person. Okay. Yeah, so Lou and I, we created something really special together. I'm really glad to have him as one of my friends here. Next, I'd like to invite Jim and Tim to the stage to help with the next part of our musical adventures. I'm going to ask everyone to join in. We have a couple of hymns. We're going to sing Amazing Grace. And the words and music can be found in your program. So do join in and sing along. play saxophone. We're going to do a piece I wrote, an arrangement of Elegy by Gabriel Fauré. The original piece is for cello and orchestra. And I took the first theme of it and turned it into a jazz passage.
Somebody's got to do it.
after she heard a Caldwell student sing it on her senior recital. And the words and music of Leave You No More are very poignant. They're based on an Elizabethan ballad. I found it easy to give the song a new set of clothes, and the words are found in the program on the second page if you'd like to look along. This is Leave You No More. meditation portion of our time tonight. We're going to begin with reflections by my friend Reverend Michael Oddie. We met as staff members at Union Congregational Church. Mike also joined the choir, and we had a wonderful time presenting challenging sacred music together. So I'd like you to please give a warm welcome to Reverend Michael Oddie.
Eric for inviting me. And I must note that the younger pictures of Eric, if you notice the long dark hair, dark beard, I look like that. I was glad to see it. Dear family and friends of Pam, and my dear friend Eric, may the Spirit of the Lord comfort and sustain you in this time of deep loss, the sudden departure of Pamela. I was one of the many people that Pamela touched, although my brushes with her were in some ways very incidental to both our lives, and I count it an honor to be here tonight to share with others of you whose lives have also been touched. I'm going to read a few verses from the scriptures, and a brief introduction is probably necessary and some explanation afterward. Moses in chapter 3 has been called by God to be his spokesman and point man for God's quarrel with Pharaoh over the slavery that Pharaoh has held his people in. Moses reluctantly and finally agrees to do so. He then tarries in Midian because he's wanted for murder in Egypt. And during that time, he marries Zipporah, and they have a child together. Now he's on his way to Egypt to fulfill the commission God has given him. Chapter 4 of Exodus, starting at verse 24. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it. And she said, "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me." So he, meaning the Lord, let him alone. Then it was that she said, "You are a bridegroom of blood," because of the circumcision. Well, Eric got a little preview, but the rest of you are probably wondering why I picked this. With good reason. And I did so for two reasons. I have to be brief this evening. I have maybe 10 minutes, I've been told. Not by Eric, by someone else. And I always do what she says. But nevertheless, the first reason is that I want to place Pamela's life in the biblical context and the long history of unsung women who have acted decisively and crucially in crisis situations to allow the mission of the church to go forward. Zipporah, remember that name, if you will, is the first in the Bible I have found to exemplify this role model. Now, we've often called them church ladies. Notice in this puzzling and rather fearsome passage that God, after commissioning Moses and talking him into accepting this assignment, now comes to kill him. What? Some people, translators, say that an angel of the Lord came, but even if it was an angel of the Lord, it would be like God's assassin sent to kill Moses. We'll deal with that in a little bit, shortly, I promise. But first of all, it's Zipporah who knew what to do in the situation. Quickly taking a flint, which must have been some kind of a knife, she circumcises her child, takes the foreskin and touches the feet of Moses. That's a biblical euphemism for his genitalia. Somehow, this makes him sacred or sanctifies him, so the Lord leaves him alone. Of course, the question is, how did Zipporah know what to do? This is like out of the blue. Oh, you may say, Pastor, surely you went to seminary and you know that the Bible has all of these stories that are stories of origin to explain to us why we have the customs and traditions that we do. So this is just a story explaining why the Jews circumcised the firstborn son or the first of the sons born to their families. Yeah, but that doesn't explain why Zipporah knew and not Moses. Well, today we'd say, well, men are clueless. And there's a lot to that. Others may say, well, mothers especially, no, mothers instinctively know how to protect their children. We don't know exactly why, but it's because she was a mother and intuition, mother's intuition. You've heard of that, surely. But yet it has to remain something of a mystery, doesn't it? Well, Zipporah is the first in a long line of biblical women heroes, mainly unsung, often acting behind the scenes, who nevertheless act crucially at crisis situations to allow the mission of the people of God to go forward. Zipporah the first, Deborah, a woman judge, the only woman judge in Israel, tough as any man, is another, acting in a situation in which there was no one else to do something. Ruth, the Moabitess, who marries Boaz and then becomes the genitors of the line that produces Jesus, the Savior. Mary, his mother, the other Mary Magdalene, and the other women who crucially hang around Jesus, supporting him, and go to the tomb on Easter Sunday to first anoint his body and then proclaim he's gone. And that there is new life possible in Christ. Well, Pam stands in that long line, I believe. When I first came to the Union Congregational Church, really a guy in a golf course told me I ought to check it out. It was a jazz service. And I was delighted to be there. I love jazz, and during the course of my ministry, I tried to start different jazz services in different settings, but never quite successfully, as what happened that Sunday morning at Union. And after the service, I went up to say something to Eric and thank him for the service, and who should meet me on the steps but Pamela. Hello, she said. Who are you? Are you new? I said, well, yeah. My name is Mike, and I'm here for the first time. I'd like to speak to Eric and thank him for the service. She said, well, welcome. So glad you're here. There's Eric. Then later, I think it was about a year later maybe, I don't know if it was quite that long, Eric talked me into coming to the church, to the choir, and I was full of fear and trembling at the first choir rehearsal, because after all, I didn't think I could read music. I didn't even know if I was a bass or a tenor. And who should greet me but Pamela, of course. Great to see you, Michael. You're going to love it. I said, yeah, I'm full of fear and trepidation. And she said, you'll be fine. How did Pamela know all this? That was exactly what I knew. And then one more example. When I was asked to give a talk, the story of my life, they had a series there of people sharing after the service. I came with my computer loaded with pictures to hook into the church's system to, as you are seeing today, show pictures to go with my talk. And the tech people at Union couldn't figure it out that morning, and several were called in. But who should save the day? Pamela. She figured it out quite quickly with a smile on her face. She stands in a long line of women, often unsung heroes of the faith, who know what to do intuitively, instinctively, or maybe just because that's who they are, to advance the mission of the church. But there is another point. That was only the first reason I picked that passage. The second has to do with the fact that the Lord of hosts is sovereign over both good and evil in the world. The Bible, you see, is intent on insisting and proving almost on every page that this is God's world. He made it. The good, the bad, the ugly, or whatever. And that the principles upon which this world were founded are still at work. And God uses good and evil to accomplish his purposes in the world, which are not and cannot be defeated. The Bible wants to insist that this is God's world, and human life must be lived on God's terms, not on our terms. I mean, the first thing I would thought of when Eric told me that Pam died is, oh my goodness, how unfair. There's something wrong here. She was so young. She was so nice. She was such a good person. She touched so many lives. She was loving, compassionate. My God, why? Well, Jesus, as you know, said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Has God forsaken us? We sometimes cry to the heavens. And to speaking of the cross, of course, the answer is no. God has not. God was in the Son, cannot be divided from him, and was suffering with the Son. And God is with us in our suffering. That's the basic Christian message. And that the amazing job description of God that we see in Scripture is he is the God who turns evil into good and cannot be defeated. For on the cross, Jesus accepts the torture that was given to him by the best minds in how to torture someone in the first century. He accepted it, overcame it by doing so, and provided a tremendous release of spirit into the world that has attracted millions of people over the centuries to God, touching our hearts in ways we could not have imagined by a God who was a fearsome flamethrower. No, life is to be lived on God's terms. We don't, any of us, know how many days that we are given. Pamela was very gifted, and as Eric outlined, said, participated in so many different activities and had so many different gifts. I was amazed when I showed up choir practice, and there she was on the drums or something. This was Pam. And she was many, many things to many people who loved her. And yet, at heart, who was Pam? She was a beloved child of God. Thanks be to God for the life of Pamela Olsen.
Amen.
You can sit, but it's going to be a little while.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Mike. I'm so grateful that you agreed to share your knowledge and wisdom with us. Now I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Gina Martin, who is one of Pamela's teachers at the Swedish Institute, where Pamela received her degree in massage therapy. Gina is a multi-talented writer of feminist historical fiction and founding mother of Triple Spiral, a pagan spiritual congregation in the Hudson Valley. Pamela was active in Gina's group for many years, so please give a warm welcome to Gina Martin.
Good evening. I wrote notes. I broke my arm. I can't read my notes. So I'm going to wing it. As Eric told you, I met Pamela when she was a student of mine at the Swedish Institute. I was teaching a course, an elective for those students ready to graduate in advanced shiatsu and Chinese medicine. Now, yeah, the nerds took this class. The shiatsu nerds took this class. This was the group of people who found something in Chinese medicine, the paradigm of beauty and chaos in the order, and order in the chaos. Like those kids you knew in high school who wanted to take calculus. Remember those days? Or advanced pure mathematics, who found beauty and the design and the divine in that stuff, and the rest of us thought they were out of their minds. Well, the shiatsu nerds were like that. They found beauty in this organically, synthetically design of human understanding. And so I walked into this class eager to have a room full of my fellow shiatsu nerds. And there was Pamela, sitting right in the front, long, tall spine, heart wide open, eyes bright, and that smile. What a gift. Pamela was the student that many of us wait an entire career to have. The student who just ate it up with fervor, with joy, with exuberance, and she thought my jokes were funny. The best student ever. The nerdiest of the shiatsu nerds. After she graduated, she became a patient of mine and a friend. When we needed someone in our spiritual community to become a secretary, Pamela jumped in. She organized a Zoom book club for my novels. I always thought maybe we got along so well because we were both Hoosiers. I mean, you can take the girls out of Indiana, but do you ever get Indiana out of the girls? I don't know, maybe not. So the things about Pamela that were so attractive was her love of everything. She loved learning. She loved music. She loved helping people. She loved healing people. She loved life, and I think most especially she loved Eric. We share his loss. We can't even come close to understanding what it is. My Appalachian grandma used to say, Gina, time's a wasting. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? And Pamela didn't get enough. She did not get enough time. But she ate life voraciously. She drank deeply from the cup of life while she was here. She always called me sensei, even many years after she was no longer my student. But I really believe that I learned more from her than she learned from me. There was never a more generous soul, a more beautiful, generous soul. So I'm asking us today, in Pamela's memory, and based on the teachings of life that she gave to me, that we all make a pledge, that we go out from here and we seek beauty everywhere. That we go out from here and we learn everything we possibly can with a voracious appetite. I'm asking us to go out from here today and dedicate ourselves to making somebody's life better every day. And I'm asking us to go out from here and love. To love without hesitation, to love with abandon, to love fiercely, because time's a wasted. Hail the traveler, Pamela Olsen.
Thank you so much, Gina. It means so much to me and Pamela that you agreed to be here today. Thank you. All right, I would like to open this out in case there's anyone who wanted to speak who didn't already let me know. If you're interested to say a few words, feel free to come on up. Anyone interested? Yes? Okay, Lori, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me okay? I'm Lori, pull it down.
Go to Toastmasters.
I used to be behind the piano, so it's new. I'm Lori Davidson Dean from Hammond, Indiana, and I'm a childhood friend of Pamela's. And I'd like to share a few memories from our childhood in the form of a letter, because I don't do improv speaking. Okay. Dear Pamela, what a gift it has been to be friends with you on this journey of life on Earth. My first memory of you was watching you play softball when we were kids. You played the position of catcher. I was always mesmerized by your fearless effort to get the ball at any price to the well-being of your body. I could have been watching MLB on television. It was the first lesson that you inspired in me, how to have reckless abandonment and passion for an activity. It turns out that this was a core part of your approach to any of your chosen endeavors. We became good friends in high school when you saw an opportunity to mentor me in music, one of your many passions. A year my senior, I looked up to you and savored your endless encouragement. You formed the Morton Senior High School Jazz Band, which I saw up on the screen. It's awesome. For which I played the piano. You held the auditions, booked the gigs, gathered and arranged the music, held the rehearsals, and played your golden trumpet just like Woody, and off we went. You were diving headfirst into leadership and doing it oh so well, almost all of the time. None of us will ever forget that Woodmar shopping mall gig we played at Christmas time. We were innocently running our set of jazzy tunes, inserting a Christmas song every so often. Everyone seemed delighted, especially Santa, who actually stood up and conducted. Suddenly, we were interrupted in the middle of our performance by an angry mall administrator. She was dismissing us. As it turned out, she was not a fan of this ever-popular song that you queued us up to play. It was called The Stripper. Personally, I think we took the rap for Santa's enthusiasm. That brings me to one of your attributes that I treasure the most, your generous, rolling giggle. As kids, we perfected the art of nonsense and perfect goofiness. Sleepovers were hellish for my mother as we giggled the night away. To this day, I can lift my mood at any moment by remembering those times. High school turned out to be very enriching thanks to your tutelage. You encouraged me to join the choir as the piano accompanist, participate in musical theater, in the pit orchestra. You were amazing at Godspell, by the way. Also, solo and ensemble competitions, band, and various other musical groups. You always had a gift for grandiose visions, like the time you took me to Chicago in your old jalopy, which you named Syncopation, to celebrate my 16th birthday. Most teenagers would simply say a happy birthday and maybe give a gift of the newest album or a friendship bracelet, but not Pamela. Had I known that you were taking me to a fancy French restaurant in the heart of Chicago, I would have dressed in something finer than my favorite overalls. You were not daunted. Onward! We perused Rose Records, walked along the Navy Pier, and ended the night with an outdoor concert at Ravinia. What a great birthday present. You went on to college and told me stories of your wonderful experiences there. Needless to say, I followed you there one year later. Your meeting of Eric at IU was a godsend. I became a benefactor as well for all of his wisdom, humor, and optimistic viewpoints on life. So many times I showed up at your apartment to decompress or eat and gather any bits of wisdom to bolster my confidence in order to take on the challenge of becoming a musician for another day. I know my anxieties must have been challenging at times, but you always remained patient, kind, and caring. What a blessing you both were to me then. We went our separate ways after graduation until the advent of Facebook. It has been wonderful to reignite our rich friendship over these past few years. We've spent many early mornings giggling over our fond memories, solving current life problems, or just sharing our current hobbies and future dreams. I will miss our conversations and your beautiful spirit of light and love. I will miss you, my soul sister.
Eric,
Yes.
I want to say something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I have to watch it as I go up these steps, you know?
Yeah.
Pam and Eric were in love. They were always a very interesting couple to me. Because you could tell that God had made them to be together. I'm a big guy on marriage. And I just love the way that Pam and Eric looked together when I saw them together. And Eric and I would rehearse at my house, and I asked him how Pam was doing, and he would respond so quickly. And I knew he loved her. He cared about her. She was singing, changing careers, and going back and forth. And Eric was a constant rock. And I could tell it. And I respect him for that. But I also want to talk about Eric. Because I don't know if you all know this or not, but Eric Olsen is a very fine pianist, but he's probably the greatest accompanist in the world. And I'm not kidding. I did a concert one time with Jessie Norman. And Jessie Norman, she came to me backstage and she said, "Where in the hell did you find him?" I said, "Don't even try it, Jessie. He's my accompanist. Get your own ragged here. Don't even think about it." And she laughed, but she, like I, and everybody that I have brought within our sphere, has recognized the genius of Eric Olsen. He's quiet, he's a very simple man. We have a friend, he's passed now, his name is Al Ragland. And at my wedding, Al told me, he said, "I've got the accompanist for you, Kevin." And I looked at him, you know, you look at your in-laws like, "What do you know? You don't know anything." And then he introduced me to Eric. And I'll tell you, boy, you know, we have been all throughout Germany, all throughout France. We've been in Taiwan together, all throughout Taiwan. We've been, believe it or not, in the Fiji Islands. We sat on the beach together in the Fiji Islands, only 2 or 3 people there, because those were the only people that could afford to be there. And we were there because somebody else was paying us. There were 2 surgeons out there, 2 brain surgeons, and Eric and I and my daughter. And I know those guys were looking at us, "What do you operate on?" Oh my gosh, I can't even begin to tell you. One time we went to India, you know, and Eric was so excited about the trip, as I, because we were going to meet also with Mahatma Gandhi's son, his grandson, and we did. But Eric got sick eating that food over in India, and he had to stay in his hotel room. So I was forced to eat all the food for him. Yeah. But we had so many fantastic times together. And I remember when we would go to Germany, Eric already had it figured out what we were going to go see. You know, he knew what was in each city and what you should see. And we would go and see it and learn so much. I can't even tell you all how much I love Eric. When he told me of the passing of his wife, I wept. Read, you know, the Bible says Jesus wept, and there's no explanation, it just says he wept. And I wept. Because when a man and a woman get married, they become what? One. That's right, baby. They become one. Don't ever forget it. Eric loves his wife, and you can see it. He got all of us here. Good Lord, have mercy. But I don't think he had much of a problem doing so. Because if you know him, you love him, right?
Right.
He's the best. Like Jesse said, where did you find that guy? Thank you.
Anyone else like to say a few words? All right, we'll move on then, because Pamela needs to have her say now. And so I have to put in her complicated thing. There we go. Not too complicated. All right, so that was Gina's book, by the way, on Pam's lap there. All right, so I'm going to do a few recordings of Pam. The first one is Pia Jesu from Fauré's Requiem. Requiems were a favorite of her. She first became deeply interested in classical music after hearing Brahms's Requiem. And the words for Pia Jesu are, "Merciful Jesus, Lord, grant unto them rest, eternal rest." And there's a singing. Is it going through here? I don't know if it's going through on this. It sounds like it's going through on Pam's. Hang on a second. Ah, there we go. There we go. Okay. favorite composer of all time was Richard Wagner. The next excerpt is from a recording we did of the first act of Die Walküre. This is the portion of the opera where the two principal singers express the first stirrings of mutual love for one another. Pamela is accompanied by a string quartet and with me on the harpsichord. And the words are, thy hand, Belinda, darkness shades me. On thy bosom let me rest. More I would, but death invades me. Death is now a welcome guest. When I am laid and laid in earth, may my wrongs create no trouble in thy rest. Remember me, but forget my fate. have a couple of videos. Pamela, this one explains a little bit of why she decided to be a massage therapist and why she went into public speaking.
World-class storytellers utilize three basic principles. There really is just one story. How do you tell it? Every story is true, and some of them actually happen. When a story begins with once upon a time, it pertains to everyone who hears it. Once upon a time, there was a fearless little tomboy named Pam. I spent much of my early years outside, proving to the boys that I could do anything they could do. I could run, jump, swim. I played football, basketball, baseball. But what I loved to do most was climb trees. We had this big, huge apple tree in the backyard. The branches were so big and they were situated in such a way that I was actually able to take naps in that tree. I spent many hours up there, having healing conversations with God. And I'd take my guitar up and play songs like, "Give me a warm spring day, an apple tree. There is nothing that I can see when I look out from my apple tree. Look up there and you'll see me. What's already tears of fuel. Life's exciting and always new. In a world of girls and boys, in a world of simple joys." But like everybody, I had issues. You see, my challenges basically existed indoors. My father was generally away traveling on business, and my mother was severely depressed. So the hours that I spent indoors, I was basically trying to find ways to help Mom out of her funk. And there were two things that really did seem to help: music and massage. Picture a fairly hefty lady lying face down on her bed with, at the time, a pretty tiny panty sitting straddled on her lower back. We put a big stack of records on the record player. We would play everything from the Andrews Sisters to Tom Jones singing, "What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa." I can still imagine her back looking like this vast canvas. And I'd take a bottle of Johnson's baby lotion and I'd squirt it all over her back until she looked like this pink Jackson Pollock pink princess, meticulously rubbing the lotion into her skin and listening to her moans of joy. I'm grateful that I had challenges as a kid. I mean, the beautiful thing about being a child is how we approach life fully. We utilize our creativity and we express ourselves without judgment or hesitation. I've tried to carry that spirit into adulthood by developing my passions. I've given countless musical performances, and I've started my own massage therapy business. I've basically been able to grow through the challenges in my life, but one that really eluded me was public speaking. You know, it's funny because I've literally sung in front of thousands of people in places like Carnegie Hall and St. Patrick's Cathedral with orchestra. And yet, public speaking used to scare the heck out of me. Finally came to realize is that public speaking is an art form. It requires the same kind of dedication, development, and practice as what I've been giving music and massage. years of trial and error, falling on your face and getting back up again. Like every other art form, public speaking requires that you give everything that you're made of. I think it's time to combine the arts of music, massage, and public speaking into a uniquely new art form. I want to create healing events where people can experience world-class music, great body work, and spiritually uplifting speeches all in the same place. For you see, my friends, the moral of this story is to take the things that are difficult in your life and make adversity your friend.
What's interesting too is that I hadn't seen these videos. She made them, and I didn't see, and I found them, and I'm like, oh, well, I have to put this one on. There are a few, you know. This next one is a Toastmaster speech she did after she had done. She was already past president, so at this point she was had shown that she had well mastered what was difficult for her.
I'm so fat! I don't even need an internet connection because I'm already worldwide. Actually, this figure works for me, but it's not so good for my next door neighbors because this fat ass is blocking their Wi-Fi connection. Historically, my weight has been a taboo subject for ridicule because I have literally tried every kind of weight loss diet. In addition to exercise, meditation, fasting, heroin, you name it. I'm just kidding. I never use meditation for this. Thank you, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Tonight I want to share with you 3 of my personal weight loss scenarios. And then at the end of the speech, I'll tell you why I'm doing this. My love affair with my rotund figure began when I was about 16 years old. My mother and I did a diet together. It's called the grapefruit juice diet. Pretty straightforward. You drink 16 ounces of grapefruit juice before every meal. Unfortunately, my mother decided that we should drink it from a can. It was truly one of the most horrible things I've ever put in my mouth in my entire life. It tasted like this soured, acidic can fluid. Truly horrible. The good thing was, I did lose some weight, because every time I would drink this horrible juice, my stomach would seize up and I wouldn't finish my meal. Truly though, during this time period, I developed a couple of bad habits. Every meal, I would sneak off to the bathroom. I would face the toilet with shame and horror. And then I'd flush that damn grapefruit juice. This was always followed by the insistence of getting some exercise. So I would take these long, romantic strolls to the kitchen, where I would meet up with my secret lover, the refrigerator. I would talk to him. Oh, honey, I love your long, thick handle. And then you open yourself up to me. Fast forward a few years. And the reason is because I know for a fact that it's leaving me for good. This book, The 10-Day Detox Diet by Dr. Mark Hyman, is changing my life. I've learned many great things from this book, one of which is insulin resistance, and another great thing is addiction. The human brain has two little segments that are only stimulated when you use some sort of highly addictive substance, like cocaine, heroin, sugar, and processed carbs. Now, understanding this for me was a real life-changing event. It was a real aha moment, but the alcoholics say a moment of clarity. Because for me, there's no longer the anxiety of choosing whether or not I'm going to eat something that's bad for me. Because, I would never in my wildest dreams ever try cocaine or heroin, because I know for a fact that there are a lot of people, the first time they try them, they're addicted for life. So it's easy now. The whole idea, I am a junk food junkie, is no longer a joke. It's real. And what's interesting is that with this true paradigm change, I feel free. I can eat the way I'm supposed to eat for the rest of my life, and there is no contemplating it. It's easier. That doesn't mean it's happening fast. Unfortunately, weight loss, if it were as easy as losing my car keys, or my cell phone, or my temper, or my mind, I'd be so skinny already. I've been doing it since March 15th, and I'm doing pretty well. I can close this for the first time, and I know that this is something that I'm going to be able to sustain forever. I can see a higher level of health is attainable for me for the first time in my life. It's pretty damn exciting. Someday you're going to see in lights Pamela Olsen, weight loss meditation expert. Madam Postmaster.
I should note that when we met with her father John on her birthday, February 7th, that she had lost 50 pounds at that point. Wow. She did end up losing weight. Now this next video, I have to show this because this was Pamela's conception from first to last, combining her love of cycling with a prayerful song to God. And a friend wrote back to me after hearing that she died and said, she described this video perfectly. She said, that video of her cycling and lip syncing to her own voice is beautiful, humble, and hilarious. I couldn't put it better myself. So this is Pamela singing Fourier's En Prière. En Prière, written in 1890, in prayer. Gabriel Fauré, music. Stéphane Bourdez, lyrics. Pamela Olsen, soprano, translation, and videographer. Eric Olsen, piano.
En prière, in prayer, English translation. If the voice of a child can ascend to you, O my Father, listen to Jesus in front of you on his knees in prayer. If you have chosen me to teach your laws on this planet, I know I will serve you, O King of Kings, O Light. On my lips, Lord, put the truth as a benefit, so that those who doubt will humbly revere you. Don't abandon me. Give me the necessary sweetness to soothe the evils and ease the pain, the misery. Reveal yourself to me, Lord, in whom I believe and hope. For you, I want to suffer and die on the cross at Calvary.
This song depicts Jesus asking God for the ability to teach God's word, heal God's people, and die for God's purpose. experience music, spirituality, touch, and cycling as methods of healing the planet and one another. Did 20 takes of this thing. She got it exactly the way she wanted. When she had something in her head, she said, "This has got to be perfect." So, yeah, that encapsulates it right there. So this last video is Pamela singing Ave Maria, which I composed especially for her. She asked me to do it probably because it reminded her of her mother Mary. The words are, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen."
Amen.
to invite Jim and Tim back up to the stage, and we're going to sing our second hymn, Precious Lord. thank you for coming. I did actually have a few things that I'd like to say, I wrote a bunch of stuff. I'm going to try and go through it quickly because it's taking a little longer than I thought. But like I said, Pamela had several lives, right? So, if we're going to like talk about all of them, it's going to take a while. Right. Okay, so, I think if she were here, she'd say a few things. First, to treat everyone with kindness and respect. She always had a sense of care and was concerned to behave courteously, to people like restaurant servers, people that she spoke to on the phone. Learn something new every day. That would be second. At the time of her passing, she was working on her latest incarnation, that of percussionist. She was taking lessons on the Middle Eastern riff, which is a type of Eastern tambourine, and she was becoming adept at the hand drum or the tar. Her plan was to sing arrangements of my opera arias in jazz style while playing percussion. Yeah, she never stopped, This was the great thing, and what was a little bit wild was she was the same right up until the moment, boom, she was just gone. I was like, wait a minute, what, do we have these plans? But anyway. Third would be to feel gratitude every day. Pamela had a regular signature on all her emails that read, "with gratitude." And her valedictorian speech at the Swedish Institute was entitled Gratitude. Fourth, remember to laugh and not take things or yourself too seriously. She had a unique sense of humor, some of which you've seen tonight. And she said she got it from John, her father. We have a friend, Dave Deming, who may be online watching this. He reminded me of a humorous story when we were at Indiana, and Pamela and he were both bus drivers. So I bet you didn't know she was also a bus driver. Yeah, that was another one of her lives. So this man gets on the bus with Dave, the other bus driver, and asked him to guess where he was from. And Dave went through every country he could think of, and he wasn't able to guess. And finally the man told him it was Iceland. So Dave told this story to Pamela, and she remembered it. And when the same man got on her bus and tried the same question on her, she immediately looked it dead in the eye and said, "Are you from Iceland?" Did she let on that she had inside knowledge? No, she didn't. She also played a practical joke on our friend Dave. She bought a bunch of postcards with pictures of the dancer Mark Morris. Very unusual things. And then she would write little things and address them to Dave and leave them either at his home or places where he'd find them. Or she would mail them to other friends and have them mail these postcards to him. And he would get these cards and be like, where is this crazy? Where are these cards coming from? But she did finally tell Dave that she was the one who did that. And she was a natural at drumming. I remember when Elliot Zygmunt, who was a drummer with the jazz legend Bill Evans, he was playing at the church one day, and we had gotten a brand new set of timpani. And Pamela picks up the mallets and says, I wonder how you do a roll. Is it like this? And she proceeds to play a perfect roll right away. And Elliot kind of looked at her, and he didn't look amused. She really was a natural healer, though. There was a time when I had a performance scheduled actually with Rob Middleton, and I woke up that day. I had a stuffed up head. I took a 24-hour decongestant, did nothing. Went to a choir rehearsal that night, and then I was at home running a fever. And Pamela was still a student with Gina Martin at the time, and she was starting to get interested in Eastern modalities, but she wasn't really sure about it, and sold on it, and neither was I. But she said, well, let me give it a try. So she's working on my arm. Now I'm sitting there all stuffed up. And suddenly she says to me, did you feel that? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, for her, she said it was like this electric shock went from my arm into her arm. And what happened for me is I drained completely in 1 second, which has never happened to me before or since. It was just like, boom, just drained. So then we realized, oh, there's something to this Eastern medicine. And so she actually also became an energy healer and a Reiki master, and she did even distance Reiki, which involves working on energy, people that you aren't meeting, but who you are working to kind of telepathically. If anyone can do that, Pamela can do that. She also loved treating pregnant women, and she could differentiate the energies between the mother and the child, and sometimes even help the mother when the child's energy was still stuck in her body after the child had been born. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here to celebrate the life of Pamela. She brought a lot of positive energy to many people and healed many who needed her help. She lived her life as a true artist does, overcoming obstacles in order to follow her dreams. Please take a moment to thank all the musical artists and speakers for their generous contributions to this memorial. Slideshow, which is very short, which we're going to do while we do the last piece here. And I call this one Pamela's Final Slideshow. The reason I say that is because this slideshow has some very interesting features in it. All the buildings, the exteriors are some sort of temple. For instance, there's the Chichen Itza Mayan temple. There's Akshardham, which is a Hindu temple in New Jersey. These are places we visited. 2 churches in Maine. Also imagery of water, a bridge, and then a specific picture of Pamela, which is the only one in my that was on my iPad. And this was at a time we were at a fancy restaurant, and I said, "Pam, give me a look like you're so excited about this food." Okay? So she did this look. You'll see it down there. All right, so there are 10 pictures on here, and these appeared the week that Pamela passed on my iPad. And to me, I'm showing them exactly as they came up on my screen. It's just very interesting to me because they seem to tell a story. But I didn't realize until after she passed that how much she loved butterflies. She had at least 3 butterfly pins and a medallion on one of our lamps that has butterflies on it. And it's appropriate then that I found an urn for her ashes here, which is Japanese and it's covered in butterflies. A lot of Oriental art is in our home, and the butterflies kind of represent change since they morph from caterpillars into their final form, and many cultures also for them, it represents spirits. Pamela embraced change. She was always challenging herself to learn the most she could from this earthly realm. I have no doubt that she's still learning in her new realm of the spirits. So the postlude, Butterfly Wings, was written especially for this memorial concert. At the conclusion of the piece, I invite everyone to move to the lobby, where Pamela's family members have generously set up a reception for you. There's a lot of food, so please enjoy it. And there are some CDs there, which you are welcome to take one as a memento of our concert here tonight.